Okay, guys, welcome. In this part of the class, I would like to thank you guys for making it up to this point. And so far, you can see that it's pretty easy to jump around inside Houdini and also model some basic stuff, right? So you guys made it, and now you can feel comfortable modeling in Houdini, direct modeling. So you can create some stuff and, make some money too. So I remember I talked about how this course is going to make you production ready so that you can make stuff to sell or even help you at a job or for your own projects. Okay. So there are a few things that I want to touch as part of this conclusion section of this cool course to show you so that you guys are full and ready to get out and do some cool stuff for yourself. All right, cool. So the first thing I want to show you is that let's grab a box and place it right here. Okay. Let's move it a little bit from the bike. Give it some basic shade. Okay, let's give it a lighter one. And let's go inside it. Okay. It's nothing, but it's something that I know you guys wonder how I did it. So I want to show you. The default is polygon mesh, but you can convert stuff. So let's call for convert node. I have a convert node. The default converter is polygons. It's more. What I want to show you is let's convert this polymesh to nerve curves. You see, if you remember, I used this design on the helmet. So if you saw this is how I was able to achieve that. I converted the polymesh or the polygons into nerve curves. That gives you something like this to work on. All right. So I can go in and, start working on the nerves, right? So nerves are cool. That gives you smooth edges, like, that you can use to work. The problem with this type of conversion is that you cannot use poly extrude on this kind of stuff. Most of the polygon tools will not work on the nerve object. Okay. So for example, I can try to select everything, go to polygons, select everything. Let's get everything and call for poly extrude. Nothing happened. We still have that edit. The system is now recognizing the default primitive we are using, which is nerves, right? So to still work on this, if you are still interested, its possibility is, endless, right? We can convert this back to what? To polygons. So let's call for convert node again and convert it back to polygons, which is the default for the converter, right? So we have converted these nerves to polygons now. Now I can select everything, call for poly extrude, and give it some thickness if I want to on each polygon. See? So we have something like this. You can pick a single polygon to work on if that's what you want. So that's how I was able to create this effect on this helmet. It's the same helmet, but before I introduce subdivision, I use this effect. So this is a separate helmet, and I know you can do this. That's why I'm showing you. I know you guys saw this, and if I don't tell you about it, maybe you are wondering how I was able to get it, because it looks cool. So for creativity and stuff like that, it's endless working in Houdini, right? That's why I want to teach you guys the tools so that you can mess with it and come up with stuff like this. Very cool, all right? So that is how I was able to achieve that. All right, cool. So let's delete this box. Hit delete. And now let's focus on this bike a little bit. Let's get back to the production ready that I was talking about. So far, everything we've done, you can still get stuff ready for production, right? But let's say you work for a game company, right? Let's get inside this back wheel, okay? So this back wheel does not have a UV. All the models we've been modeling does not have UVs. Okay, so we can see that if I go to a sprite window, you see that there's no UVs. We have a very quick way to get UVs. So let's select everything and call for UV unwrap. See, we have a little decent UV going on, right? But we can still see there are a bunch of little pieces here that you cannot tell where they go, right? And around here, it's being some breaks that maybe, that's not what you want. So let's click outside. Let's get out from the system, be on polygons, and double click on this. This is where this UV outline is, okay? So if you want to work on this, when you take this UV to Photoshop or your painting program, it would be nice to have this whole area as one, or even take these ones out. So if I hold Control, I can take these ones out, right? But let's get the whole area. So you hold Shift. And we get this face. You see, it looks nicer. This way, you can put a design around here and you are not worried about, messing or jumping into another color or something, right? So this gives you a nice set of UV island. How do you get that? Because you see, the edges are all over. We can see some are over here. We can see some are over here. So even though we have a decent UVs, it's still not a production ready good, because if you work for a game company and you model, so you have to produce the UVs, right? And you give stuff that they stress about it, it's not good. When you give them stuff that are really good, you see everybody likes you, right? So you make people works easier for them. It's not just that because you can produce UV, you just give them anything, right? So that's why all these tools are here. So as a bonus to this course, I want us to get a little deeper into UV, because that's how your production will get nicer. See, at this point, we see how we can even imagine stuff we can do here that will show and give this whole area a different color. And it's even and nice, right? So how do you get that area separated as one UV island? Okay, so you come in, the tools are here, it's selected. All you have to do is click on UV flatten. At this point, it's gonna override the UV unwrap and make this whole selection one outline by itself. Okay, so let's do that. UV flatten, boom. But the UV flatten tool assume that we are working on maybe a big object and we need to cut some seams, so that is not what we want right now. So basically, let's take this basic step and ignore any seams, because you read here is telling you stuff to do. Remember that. So let's hit enter. See, we have a new big set of UV island. Okay, so if you look around the edge, you see this red stuff going on that allow you to move the UV to a different position or get it smaller. So let's try to get it somewhere up here in the corner for now. Okay, as long as the UV is inside here at the UV coordinates area, you are good. But you try not to overlap your UVs on top of another one. And you can see that we have this polygon here and it's part of it. That means we messed up. We selected a point that we did not tumble and look around. So let's do it again. You have to work professional. So go back, delete it. Okay, get out from the system, click outside, look at your UVs. Let's do it again. Double click, be on polygons, double click here, okay, and start getting these points. If you're gonna you can turn the eye on so that you don't grab stuff that are behind, or you can use the lasso and start grabbing them by holding shift. Look around and see this time you don't grab anything else. That's why you see me tumble a lot most of the time. So it looks like we don't have anything else. We just want this part, okay? So let's do it again. Let's call for UV flatten and hit enter. Okay. We got it again. But we don't have the tool to move it, right? It's okay. Let me introduce another tool for you. So let's get back from the system, come to selection, and be on polygons. Double click this UV island we have created. Okay, we want to move it aside. So let's introduce UV transform. And that allow us to move that UV to this side. It's not only just for the move, we can scale it smaller like we were trying to do earlier. You see, it's small tools that you can mess with. So we can mess with the scale. Let's give it like we can bring it up here and put it over here. That's okay. So you see, if we get out from the system, we come to polygons and we double click, we have that selection as just one UV island by itself. In this case, if you are working on it in Photoshop, you know all this area corresponds to here. And you could put all the logos, the design, you could paint this area a different color. You know, that's where your creativity comes in, right? So you have to get a nicer UV for your work to get easier. Or if you are giving it to somebody, it's easy for them, all right? Let's get this middle part too, okay? You hold shift to double click the next island you want to add to it. So we get the first one, and then we hold shift and we get these ones. Okay, so we have this one too. If we come to polygons and we double click, we see it's very nice. We have all this metal section as one UV island. Okay. It's not necessary that all your selection have to be inside a UV area. You can still select from here to make stuff easy for you. So hold shift and add this area. And add this area. Because if we don't get this area, it will stick with something over here or somewhere, and it will make the UV not looking good. So you try to get stuff even and nice. So look around, you see that, we're going to make this square here and all this inside the tunnel or the panel as one UV island. Okay, so the same procedure, UV flatten, enter, and we squeeze them down. Okay, so you see that now we have a very nice UV coordinates, right, for this right here. So if you give to somebody to work on, they will love you because you give them something going to make their work so easy for them. If we double click here, this is the set here. If we double click here, this is the set here, and we double click the middle. So their work is getting so easy. And this, you zoom in, it's not like a little line or it's messed up. You zoom in, it's here. You can work on it. You can put labels here. See, that is this part. Okay, so that is how you get a nicer set of UVs.